Hello, everyone. Welcome from Amerind. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Monica Brain. I'm project specialist for Amerind Critical Infrastructure. And if you're brand new to us, Amerind is the country's only tribally owned insurance company. And inside of Amerind, we have Amerind Critical Infrastructure, which provides grant writing and project management for tribes. We work on broadband projects, but we do a number of things. So if you are interested or need some help with some projects at your tribe, give us a call. Call the main number and ask for Monica, and we can help you out. But I'm very excited today for our conversation about claims. We've got Alan Romero, Director of Claims, with us, and Alan is the longest serving member of Amerind. He's been there longer than anyone else, and so I always really am excited to hear what he has to say. He has a wealth of knowledge, thousands of years of experience. Alan, welcome, and go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Monica, for that great introduction. I am Alan Romero, and she is correct. I've been here the longest, and it is a great opportunity for anybody joining the stream today to spend some time with the claims department. We got a great introduction of the property and casualty team, and then later on, you're going to hear from Mike Melcher, our workman's comp manager, about the workman's comp team. So we wanted to do this presentation because we have a lot of new faces that have joined the team. We wanted to give a quick introduction of what these people do for the department. So Monica, let's kick it off at the first screen. And I got a couple of warm-up screens here that I want to take you through, but I wanted to show you real quickly because a lot of times people from the property side and the liability side, these are the accounts, the stakeholders that we are responsible for on the property side and liability side. As you can see, the claims department, we have equity members, we have personal homeowner accounts that we deal with, and we also deal with the big side, the tribal government business. I put in there the top 3 claims that we primarily deal with. It's fire, it's wind, it's water, depending on the type of season and the year that we're dealing with these type of claims. And then I also just wanted to reference in this slide that we have some really great partnerships. We have a partnership with Berkeley, who handles our auto claims. So there's always been some misunderstanding that the claims department handles those claims. Actually, those claims go to Berkeley Risk. And then we have a partner in cyber insurance with Tokyo Marine, and they actually handle those claims on our behalf as well as a partnership. So this is kind of just a quick little structure. So if you're joining us, these are the accounts that we handle, our stakeholders, and these are the type of top 3 claims. Of course, we handle some other claims as well with these, but just a quick little picture of what we do in the property and liability side of the department. I also wanted to show you just a real quick, everybody loves flow charts, right? Flow charts are easy to the eyes. This is how we're structured in the claims department. I'm not going to go into great detail here because I'm actually going to introduce you to each one of these individuals. But looking at the flow chart, you can see that I'm on the top as a director. I have some senior people that I'm going to introduce you to. The people in the green boxes are our property claim representatives. We have a hybrid employee that does both workman's comp and general liability. I'll introduce you to her. And then at the bottom, I call them our flight control people. They really don't work at an airport. They work in the claims department. But these are our technicians that do all the setups for all of our claims and all of our business lines. And I'm going to introduce you to them. So for starters, there's me. As Monica gave that great introduction, I have been here for 30 years. Believe it or not, I started in the claims department as a technician. And then I started as a claim representative. And then I started as a field representative. And then I thought, you know what? I've been here so long, I might as well become the manager of the department. And I got to become the manager of the department. So it's great to be able to speak from the perspective of a supervisor, that when I'm talking to all of my team members in the department, I have done each one of those specific roles within the department. So it's a great transparency for me. It's a great transparency for them as to what the expectations are. And like I said, my responsibility here at the company is I'm a member of the leadership team here at Ameren. My job is to be responsible for the property and liability, also our partnership accounts, which are the auto accounts and the cyber accounts. So that has been my 30 years, like I said, not all in management, but within grooming to become a manager of the time frame here at Ameren. And I got to tell you, I'm truly blessed to be a part of a company. It was never my desire, just for people to know. People always ask me, the number one question I get as a supervisor is, Alan, did you want to work in insurance? I said, no, it was the furthest thing that I wanted to do was work in insurance. But, God always has other plans for us. And here I am, 30 years in insurance, and I love it. So next person to be introduced is Mr. George Fellows. George basically resides not at the Ameren home office. He resides remotely in Florida. Bradenton, Florida, to be specific. George has two primary specific roles. He is our field adjuster, and I call him the guru of field adjusting. Whenever it comes down to adjusting field claims, this is the guy that does this. And he has basically 30 years of insurance knowledge in the industry, primarily as a field adjuster. He does do some desk adjusting, but his expertise would be QA, which we call quality assurance, looking at our third-party adjuster reports, making sure the internal reports with our team are at a quality and assurance standard. So this is Mr. George Fellows. We're happy to have him. He's been a part of us now going on 3 years with the team. So that is Mr. George Fellows. Another person who is Miss Heather Fellows. Heather also resides in Bradenton, Florida. Her responsibilities are a little bit different from George. She's more of an expert when it comes to the desk adjusting part of things. She specializes in 3 big accounts. Number one, our homeowners account, our personal lines. So any property claims that come in through our homeowners account, Heather is going to be the senior person handling those complex claims there. And then, of course, we get a lot of claims from our commercial side and our residential side. Heather, as a senior person, touches all 3 sides of our accounts, our equity program, our personal lines, and our commercial side. Her expertise is in complex claims, fire, water, hail, wind, working with contractors, working with brokers. She does a great job for us. She's been a part of Ameren now, going on her 5th year here, 20 years of industry experience. She has been terrific for us as when we got her back in 5 years ago. So glad to have her as our senior property desk specialist. And then the newest person that we have upcoming into our program, into our team, would be Yanira Shavir. She is going to be working in our general liability side, and she's basically a senior because she has a high level of senior abilities to adjudicate general liability claims from litigation to mediation to resolution. Her expertise is in the general liability side. She's done a great job in her career. We were happy to get her to come over to our team. Her start date is February 23rd, so it's right around the corner. We'd be happy to tell you a little bit more of an update as she pushes off into her career here at Ameren. We're just ecstatic to have her join the team. Alice Sena has almost been here as long as I've been here, believe it or not. Alice specializes in our homeowner side of the program. She does do a little bit of commercial and a little bit of residential on the equity and commercial lines, but Alice has been specializing on our homeowners program for quite some time now. She's terrific at working one-on-one with our homeowner personal lines. She manages all of the property sides of the personal lines for us. And like I said, Alice has been a part of us for 28 years. She's from the Cochiti Pueblo here, right outside of Bernalillo, where we are domiciled at. Glad to have her as our personal line specialist. Mr. Gates Garcia, we're actually a native of Santa Ana. 5 years with Ameren, 5 years of getting that experience with us. Gates is special because I call him kind of our hybrid property kind of guy. He does everything from the business lines of equity, personal lines, commercial. He's an upcoming adjuster. He does desk adjusting. He does field adjusting. And he has just grown tremendously when we got him. Started off as a technician, then groomed himself into become a desk adjuster, and now learning the field adjuster. He's been a great, great addition to our team. And then, of course, Mr. Glendon Toya, 15 years, right out here from Jemez Pueblo, been with the company for 15 years. Glendon has a little bit of a different role, as I mentioned about Allison Gates. Glendon specializes more on our equity side of our business. He does do a little bit of commercial business. He doesn't work on the personal lines at all, but he focuses on our equity members and has done a great job establishing relationships with the equity accounts. He is a primarily desk adjuster, very similar to Gates. He does some field adjusting, not as much as we would like, but more of a desk adjuster from the equity side of the company. Glad to have Glendon as part of the team. And then I call these next two people our youngest recruiters, right? We're always grooming within. Russell Mike is one of those persons that we are grooming on the property side of the business. He's been with us now going on his 4th year. Started as a technician, building his experience, his industry experience, right from San Felipe Pueblo, right up the street from us here at where we're domiciled here in Santa Ana. Russell is kind of a mixture of Gates. We're trying to groom him to do our equity program, give him some commercial business, give him some personal lines, get him into the desk adjusting world, and exposing him to the field adjusting world. Once again, he has been a great addition to us as he's starting to learn and build his career as a young adjuster here at Ameren. Very happy that he's part of the team, and he's just been his development has just been going great for us here in the claims department. Like I said, this is the other side part of Russell, but Lorraine is special because she doesn't work on property claims. She works on liability claims. And she's also she works as a hybrid / adjuster workman's comp claims. So Lorraine does 2 different types of business lines, liability and workers' comp. Lorraine has been with us same time as Russell, 4 years with the company. And her ability, like I said, as a young adjuster, her experience, she is growing in both lines of those businesses. She is from the affiliation of the Acoma Pueblo. Like I said, Lorraine does equity claims, commercial claims, and personal lines when it comes to general liability. And of course, on the workman's comp side, she's been a great addition, young mind growing in her career. And then, of course, we have 2 lead technicians. The lead's responsibilities are, they are responsible for primarily making sure that there's delegation to our younger adjusters in the claims world. James is one of those lead technicians. He's been with us for 3 years, basically from the Pueblo of Jemez Pueblo. James is basically responsible for all business lines. The lead technicians work with brokers, they work with our equity program, they work with our personal lines, they work with our commercial side. So they have to be very familiar with all of our business lines, business accounts, business policies. And once again, they're the delegators to our support team, which I'll introduce here in just a second. Another individual that is the sidekick of James is Mr. Jordan Naranjo. He's been with the company for 4 years. We're lucky to have Jordan. Has a unique story because he actually worked in underwriting first, and then he found out that the claims department was just a little bit funner than underwriting. No disrespect to underwriters. We need underwriters, of course, but he wanted to take another challenge into his career. He came over to the claims side. He has 1 year of industry experience with us on the claims side, but he has a worth of knowledge on the underwriting side. We were lucky to have this type of individual come over because we get to learn from the underwriting side now into the claims side. So he's just been a great opportunity for us to teach our technicians about both platforms from the underwriting side to the property side and liability side. Also, he's just like James in his duties and responsibilities. From the Pueblo of Santa Clara, Pueblo, he's a young lead technician being trained from James. So we plan to have 2 lead technicians when it's all said and done. Michaela Chanana, been here 5 years from the Pueblo of Jemez. She's a support technician. So what a support technician means is that all of the technicians work on all of the business lines. They are required to work on equity, personal lines, commercial. They work with brokers. So we can interchange them as we need. But like I said, Michaela is a support person. We send claims to her to keep her continuously busy on setting up claims. We have a variety of claims that come in throughout the year. She's one of our support technicians. And then last not but least is Miss Jaden Loretto. You might remember Jaden if you called into the company years ago. It's been about a year now with her being in the claims department, but Jaden used to be the front person at our in our communication side, and then she transferred into the claims department. I think she kind of got the same message as Jordan did. She found out it was a lot cooler on this side, and she loves what she's doing now. Nothing against the front desk people. We need people to answer those phones for us, of course. But Jaden has been a tremendous and a great addition to us. She's a support technician. She's been trained on everything, like I said before, the equity program, the personal lines, the commercial side. She is just a quick, fast learner for us. She's doing a terrific job with us. She is from the Pueblo of Jemez. She's been with the company a total of 5 years, but 1 year in the claims department with us. And then I'd just like to remind people as we're doing this webinar, as we did some introductions to the claims team, that is the claims team entirely. Whenever you're submitting claims, I'd like to remind people, we don't do any more forms. We don't do any paper forms. We don't have our brokers do paper forms. We do everything online. Your friend is www.ameren.com. You can see where the little arrow is pointing. When you get to our website, it's going to say submit a property or liability claim there. You can do all that good stuff right there. We can even take inland marine claims, theft claims, crime claims. Everything can be done pretty much at the website now in its entirely. So just remember, if you need to report any claims, you do it online at our website. I do want to introduce to some, for those members that are joining us from our equity membership side. So if you're an equity member, a housing authority, there was a new change in the 2026 coming this year that the board passed a resolution that there is going to be a 1% fire, wind, and hail deductible. And when Monica told me that we were going to have some time at the webinar, I thought I better introduce a couple of these slides just in case some equity members are watching this presentation. If you do need more details about the 1% fire, wind, and hail deductible, how it works, please let us know in the claims department. Any of the technicians would be happy to spend more time with any of our membership members. But here's a quick little overview of how this 1% deductible works. The first thing I would like to tell all of our membership equity members is the 1% deductible only applies to 3 perils. Perils such as fire and smoke, wind, and hail. So if you're reporting a fire or smoke claim, a wind claim, or a hail claim, it's going to say right there under your special peril deductibles in your declaration page, it's a little snippet from it, that these particular perils are applicable to a 1% deductible. And I'm going to tell you how that works here in a minute. Notice that right below this, there are what's called other perils, like water damage, vandalism, theft, explosion, vehicle, falling objects. All of these other deductibles are pretty much subject to a $1,000 deductible. The equity program used to have what was called customized deductibles. And the reason for these customized deductibles, they were like $250, $500, $750. Now there's an average of $1,000. I do want to make a disclaimer that some members choose to carry a higher deductible than $1,000. So you might want to look at your declaration page very specifically. So I don't want people to walk away saying, oh, I have $1,000 deductible. Alan said so. You might want to look at your declaration page. If you're in the state of Alaska, you probably have a higher deductible. If you've elected to carry a higher deductible, you probably have a standard higher deductible. But I'm going to talk and focus now here in just a minute about how the 1% deductible for fire, wind, and hail, how it's calculated. So let's talk about these three perils: fire, wind, and hail. When reporting in 2026, this coming year, if you haven't reported a loss, but if you're planning to report a loss, the first thing that you need to know is, how is it calculated? Well, in your inventory, you have a schedule of all of your buildings, your dwellings. And those dwellings have what's called a building limit. Underwriting is the one that kind of determines that building policy limit. It's called ITV, insured to total value. That value is what's called a building limit. And the way you calculate these losses, if you have a fire, wind, or hail, is you take the building limit times 1%. So here's an example. If a building limit is $350,000 times 1%, it means that your deductible now for this particular peril, fire, wind, and hail, is going to be $3,500. I want to advise a disclaimer where some people get confused is they think that sometimes the value of your loss is 1%. That is incorrect. The 1% deductible is calculated from your building limit times 1% of, so whatever the building limit is, in this example, it's $350,000, that's your deductible. It is not calculated by the type of loss that you have or the estimated type of loss. So let's see it in an actual hypothetical claim. Here's a claim, right? Claim comes in. We tell you whether it's fire, wind, or hail. In this particular case, we're going to use all three perils. We get a contractor repair estimate. Your desk adjuster, I introduced the team to you, whoever's handling the property claim is going to tell you, hey, this is what your 1% deductible for fire, wind, or hail. So we get the contractor repair estimate for $30,000. He says it's going to cost 30 grand to fix this firehouse, or 30 grand for that roof loss that you suffered. And then we apply your 1% deductible. There you can look at it on the screen. It's $3,500. So Ameren is going to send you a check for $26,500. Ameren does not require our insureds to pay the deductible. It's just automatically deducted once we approve your repair estimate from a contractor. After that point, we send you the check. It gets deducted. You have to be responsible to probably pay the contractor for the 1% deductible. That is the insured's responsibility. So like I said, I just want to send out, this is new. If anybody needs more information or more training, the claims department is available. All of the technicians will be prepared to provide training to all of our equity members, and any of our desk representatives, such as our claim representatives, will have the same knowledge to provide this information to you. At this time, that will conclude the property and casualty team. I want to take this opportunity now to introduce to you our workman's comp manager. His name is Mike Melcher, and we're going to transition it over to workman's comp now.
All right. Thank you, Alan. I'm Mike Melcher. I have been with Ameren since 2017. I have been doing workers' compensation since 1989. So tribal workers' compensation for over a decade now, probably closer to over a dozen years. So with that, I'm going to kind of go through the sequence of the workers' compensation team throughout the years, because Alan, his team, if he did this, it would take him 3 hours because they've been around for 30 something years. Alan's been with the company for 30 years. We just built the work comp team in 2017. So prior to 2017, a prior carrier had been handling Ameren's work comp claims for years. And then fast forward to 2017, that is when I came along and was hired as the tribal work comp manager. So I previously supervised a team of adjusters at the prior carrier, and that team had been handling half of Ameren's work comp claims. So coming into Ameren, I had a pretty good handle on tribal work comp. So 2019, I have my first hire, and that's Patty Perez. She was hired in 2019 as a lost time claims representative and remains with the team as a senior work comp claims representative. Patty also has been taking over some of the trainings, some of the visits with clients since she came aboard. So she's a great asset to me and the team. So 2020, Ameren handled our first work comp claim in-house in January of 2020. And in mid-2020, Ameren started receiving all new losses on the accounts that the previous carrier had been handling on Ameren's behalf. So going back to that first claim, when we had that first claim, Gates Garcia, who's now on Alan's team, he actually was the setup person, the claims technician, that set up our first workers' compensation claim. So when we set that up, we had a little celebration and went out for a lunch celebrating our first workers' compensation claim set up in-house. When Ameren started handling claims, we had one manager, myself, and then two adjusters, Patty being one of them, and the shared claims technician was Gates Garcia. So moving on to 2021. So we're getting busier now. We have to add more bodies. So Ameren took over all of the remaining claims, the runoff from the prior carrier. So we added Lisa Marquez, a medical-only adjuster, Loretta Vigil, also a medical-only adjuster, and Tara Kuhn, a work comp claim rep 2, were added to the team in 2021. Tara has kind of a unique role. So when you have a claim set up, it will either go to a medical-only adjuster or a lost time adjuster, which is what Patty is. And Tara actually is kind of a hybrid float who will handle both medical-only and lost time claims. We created that role to kind of help out with coverage when people are out of the office. And so that's worked out very nicely. 2022. We added more. Jaime Herrera was hired as a work comp claim rep 2 in 2022. Jaime's got a very good background in, he was actually a investigator, kind of a surveillance type thing. So that crossed over very well in his role in workers' compensation, and he's also got a liability background as well. 2024, we added more people. Michelle Archuleta, a work comp claims technician, and Vanessa Devine, senior work comp claims rep, were added in 2024. So Michelle is one of our claims intake people. When you send the work comp claim in, Michelle will set up the claim. She'll determine if it needs to go to a medical-only adjuster. So if they don't expect lost time from work on that claim, she'll set the claim up and give it to a medical-only adjuster. If it's determined that it's a lost time claim, she'll give that to either a Patty or a Jaime or a Vanessa, and they'll handle that lost time claim. 2025, we're still adding to the team. So Tony Tecumseh joined the TWC team at the end of 2025 as another work comp claims technician. Michelle had been the setup person. She now has backup of Tony. He's doing a great job. I can see that Monica cropped out the Seattle Seahawks banner behind him, but he's a very happy person lately with that Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl win. So Tony's been doing a great job so far. And our final addition to the team here, April Salguero, joined the team at the very beginning of this year. She so far appears to be as happy as that picture with Ameren. She really seems to be embracing the Ameren culture and her work, and doing a great job. She has the same type of role as Tara. So she's also a work comp claim rep 2 hybrid, handling both medical only and lost time claims. When we have people out, whether it's on vacation or unexpected PTO, April and Tara will come in and they'll get in the claim rotation and take over those claims. So here's our team today. Myself, Vanessa, Patty, Jaime, Tara, April, Larita, Lisa, Michelle, Tony, Lorraine Aragon. So Lorraine, Alan covered her role in his slide, but she's a crossover. She does liability and workers' compensation. So great skill set to have. She'll sit in on our work comp meetings just to kind of so that she's in tune with everything that's going on with the team, and has done a real nice job. And then here's our Brady Bunch picture here. There's the team all together, starting from the very start. You just had me there, and now we've grown to a 10-team unit. So I think for now we're fully staffed, knock on wood. But Ameren continues to grow. That's a good thing, and I expect that's gonna get even bigger. So looking at just doing a real brief comparison between workers' compensation on the statutory side and the tribal side. So here's a general definition of workers' compensation in general on the statutory side. Work comp is a no-fault system designed to provide benefits to employees injured as a result of their employment activities and to limit the liability of employers. Because it's a no-fault system, the employee does not need to prove negligence on the part of the employer in order to establish liability. It also means that the employer cannot use negligence on the part of the employee as a defense to a claim, but there are exceptions. So now, switching over to the tribal side, you're going to see that there's definitely similarities, but there is enough difference there to make it distinctive. So Ameren Tribal Work Comp coverage is a cost-effective tribal alternative to state statutory work comp provided through corporate insurance companies, allowing tribes to exercise tribal sovereignty and keeping money circulating in Indian country. It should be noted that each tribe's tribal work comp policy endorsement may be different, so it's important to reference the particular tribe's work comp policy endorsement when handling a claim. So to elaborate on this, we do sometimes have employees, a lot of times they may get an attorney and they'll try to take the claim into statutory courts. So for example, they'll try to take it into the California workers' compensation system. They cannot do that. And so we'll usually put defense counsel on that to bring it to make the argument that there's sovereignty here. This should be in the tribal dispute resolution process, not in the state system. We've not lost on that argument. It's sometimes attorneys are good about listening to us and will accept the fact, okay, I've read through your benefit endorsement or the ordinance. I've done some research, and yes, this does not belong in the state courts. It belongs in your tribal work comp system. Others can be very stubborn. It's very frustrating because, again, they've not prevailed yet. But they will do everything they can to keep it in to try to get it into the statutory system. And it can be very frustrating because once they get it on the docket, to get it off of that docket, we have to jump through all the hoops until it gets dismissed. So can be very frustrating. Also with the different Policies and endorsements, again, that is that particular tribe's law when it comes to workers' compensation. That is what we follow. So the adjusters, when we set up a claim, we'll figure that it's either the Ameren risk benefit endorsement, which is probably 80% of our tribes follow it. That's the only tribal law that was established by Ameren. Bob Dahl, our COO, was actually responsible for creating that benefit endorsement. And then the other tribes, the other 20%, have their own ordinances. So each particular tribe has their own tribal law. And so the adjuster has to look through that. So that can be quite the knowledge to acquire, because the adjuster has to learn each particular tribe's tribal law. So it's very interesting I'm not saying this because I'm employed by Ameren. I'm saying this because I've got over 30 years of experience, and 20 of that was in the statutory side. I find the tribal work comp system much more user-friendly. It makes more sense to me, and it's much more efficient. So filing a claim. So this is not quite as pretty of a slide as what Alan had up, but it covers kind of the same information. So most of our members are probably filing a claim through the Ameren TWC at ameren.com email. This is for workers' compensation. We'll get some that are faxing it in, and then also online. We're not seeing that many yet, but that same screen that Alan had up with the FNOL with Ameren.com, that also has a tab for workers' compensation. You can submit your work comp claim using that, and that'll come to us online, and then we'll set it up that way. That's actually strongly encouraged. But again, so far we're mainly seeing people use the email, TWC at ameren.com. One pretty important piece of information, because we have Medicare reporting that is mandatory. Even though we're tribal, we're not immune to Medicare. And so there's pieces of information that have to be in, otherwise we can get penalized. And that's the first and last name. This is on the employee injury report. The first and last name, the date of birth, the social security number, the gender, those pieces of information we have to have. Otherwise, again, there can be penalties and fines. So we've also got a couple of underwriters dedicated to workers' compensation. Andrew Shipman, he is kind of well, no longer the understudy, but he works hand in hand with Gary Wheeler. Gary Wheeler actually worked at the company that I worked at before coming to Ameren. He's got decades of underwriting experience, very seasoned, and Andrew's picked up that knowledge. He's done a great job of kind of being Gary's understudy. And so both of those guys do a great job. We collaborate very strongly with the work comp underwriters. All right, I'm going to end this presentation with a true or false question. I don't know if anyone's bold enough to chat, so you can think about this for 10 minutes and put your answer in either in your head or via the chat, but true or false? The vast majority of tribal work comp claims are covered, accepted.
It doesn't look like anyone's brave enough to guess.
That's okay. We can go to the next slide. And that is true. And so once in a while we will get very rarely, but we might get a member or a tribe that says it feels like all that you do is deny claims. Well, chances are that's likely a very small tribe, and it just coincidentally might have happened that the 3 claims that they filed for that year, 2 of them were legitimate denials. And I as the manager, I have the adjusters go to the accounts and tell them, this is my recommendation. I recommend accepting the claim or denying the claim. And on a denial, assuming they get the nod from the member, then the denial will go through me. And I probably see 2 denials a day, which sounds like a lot, but we get a lot of claims in. And so we're still accepting probably 90% of the claims that we get in. And so so we're not the big bad insurance company. We do look at each of these claims individually and investigate and make compensability determinations. But yeah, there are denials, no question about it. But really, the vast majority we do accept. So. And that's it on my end. If there's any questions for either Alan or myself, have at it.
Yeah, we really appreciate, thank you both so much for all of your all of your information and comments. Looking at this, it's reminding me in July, it'll be my 5th year at Amerant. And this is really a company that's worth taking a look at. If you are looking for a job, we are hiring, and I love working here. It is the best place that I've ever worked in my entire career. And I think it's a testament to the number of people, the longevity of folks that you have. Alan, 30 years, Alice, so many people have been here for a very long time, and it's because what we're doing really matters. Alan, anything else you want to share about claims or in particular, your folks in your department?
The only thing I wanted to share was that I wanted to provide that, we plan to provide some more webinars down the road here in the coming year. So we wanted just to kind of take an opportunity to let people know that this is the claims department team, property, casualty, and workers' comp. We plan to kind of get into some more property segments and some general liability segments. But I think for closure, if you ever need any assistance, you need any help in reporting a property, liability, or workers' comp claim, we have fantastic technicians, team members that will be willing to help you out to kind of point you in the right direction and make sure that we get that submission into us so that we can handle your claim.
Absolutely. Mike, any final thoughts?
I can't beat what Alan said, so I'm just gonna echo what he said.
Well, as always, I will email everyone who signed up for this webinar the slides to this presentation, and stay tuned. Next month, we're going to talk about safety at work, particularly preventing brain injuries, which is a pretty serious issue in Indian country. So if you are interested in that, go to our website, amerant.com, and you'll also probably get an email reminding you about it. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.